I'm 33 years old and I'm on track to retire in my 40s. And over the past 16 years, I've invested $271,000 of my own earned income. And these are the 5 things that I've learned and how they can help you. Number 1, you do not need a 6-figure salary to start investing. Most people think that they need more money in order to invest, but the opposite is true. You get more money when you invest. I've been growing my portfolio for 16 years and it's reached about over $400,000. And last year alone, it grew by $66,000, not including contributions. And this whole investing journey started for me when I was 18 years old. I started investing $25 a month. I was working 2 jobs. I was working at a pizza place called Papa Murphy's and an ice cream parlor called Cold Stone Creamery. And combined that year in 2009, I was making $10,000 a year. And it's really never about the amount, and it wasn't for me. Looking at that amount now really seems insignificant, but I am so glad that I started. And I think the main reason for me is because I have learned so much. I've made so many mistakes, and I had the luxury of making those investing mistakes with a small amount. I've never let my salary be an obstacle for me. Instead, what I've done is I've gotten creative on ways to both increase my income and decrease my spending. I've actually been able to invest an average of $5,000 a month for the past 4 years. And that is because I've done things like saved on housing, saved on groceries, and also invested in things like a 401k that reduced my overall tax liability. And of course, I've paid off vehicles. Cutting back on my biggest expenses has been my biggest hack. I've also tried to increase my income with things on the side. And this isn't just a me thing. I've seen so many individuals increase their saving rate without high incomes. Start with whatever income you have right now, even if it's just $25. Number 2, it's riskier not to invest. I've heard so many people stay away from the stock market because it's too quote unquote risky. But what I've learned from the past 16 years as a stock market investor is that the market always recovers. It always has every single time. If we look back, you can see that after the 2008 housing crisis, the market recovered. After the 2020 COVID era, the market recovered. After the 2022 inflation fears, the market recovered. Even if we go back to 1929, even though it took a little longer, the market still recovered and always reaches new time highs. The entire stock market has never gone down to zero, and that's what makes long-term investors, specifically index fund investors, very calm, even in times like this during the 2025 trade war. I've learned to think in decades and not in days. And this long-term perspective really is not just a nice thing to think about, it's actually backed by data. Historic performances show that no investor has ever lost money over a 20-year period, even after adjusted for inflation. But guess what? Keeping your money in cash is guaranteed to lose purchasing power over the same time period because of, you guessed it, inflation. If you're a long-term investor who is well diversified, you get to see volatility as your ally and not your enemy. And number 3, you do not have to wait until you're 65 to retire. For so long, I was following the American dream template. Go to school, get a good job, buy a house, get married, have a family, and then retire when you're in your late 60s. So in 2020, when I was in that good job, I was working as a software engineer for the Department of Defense. I felt ready to buy a house. So what I did is I took a personal finance course locally because it had a real estate module. I had no idea how to even start the process of buying a home, so I thought that was a good place to start for me. Except what I realized was a lot more compelling. During the retirement module, I actually was interacting with a retirement calculator and something strange happened. It actually let me input the age that I wanted to retire. So that was really the first time this notion that I get to choose my retirement age really entered my brain. And as someone who wanted to one day grow a family and spend a lot of time with my future children and really design my life around my family, my purpose, my passions, and not some job, this was exciting for me, to say the least. Put in the calculator age 60, and then I dropped it down to 55, and then to 50, and I just sort of kept inputting different ages. And the only number that I saw that changed on my screen was the amount that I had to invest every single month. I saw a number that felt realistic to me. At the time, I was investing $800 a month, and I saw that if I invested $500 more, that I could retire at age like 55. So I thought, wow, I could retire a decade earlier for only $500 extra a month. That felt like a really good place for me to start. It felt realistic. So I took the next 3 months to track all of my expenses, to build a budget, and the next year I would go on to invest 50% of my take-home pay after I was able to bring my expenses down. Retirement is not an age, it's a number, and once you reach that number, you get to decide if you want to work or not. So calculate what that number is and make a plan to reach it. And of course, I've included a link to my favorite free financial independence calculator in the description. Check it out if you're curious to know what your numbers are. Number 4, financial independence milestones allow you to unlock incremental freedom before even reaching your full FI number. In 2020, when I decided that I wanted to retire early, I actually planned to stay in my 9 to 5 until I reached my full financial independence number. But then something unexpected happened in 2021. In 2021, I unfortunately lost 7 people that I knew. One was my tech lead at work, and then the other 6 were my family members who passed in a tragic car accident. I all of a sudden started to feel extremely uncomfortable with how I was spending my time. You might say that I spiraled into a sort of existential crisis. And I wasn't the only one feeling this. This was in the middle of a global pandemic, so there were millions of people losing their lives around this time and really forcing people to rethink the value of how they're spending their time and just the overall brevity of life. And because of this, people were actually quitting in record numbers. There was actually a term for this. It was called the Great Resignation. So around this time in 2022, millions of people were quitting their jobs. And I actually quit my job in May of 2022, and Bloomberg even picked up my story. And in the middle of this great resignation, there was also a lot of headlines about looming recessions, and there was just overall uncertainty in the economy, just in the world. It felt like a very unstable time. And I remember the Bloomberg journalist calling me for a follow-up interview and asking me about how I was feeling, and if this, fear of a possible recession was changing my mind. And my answer was simple. It was no. I felt so calm and secure about my decision. And most of that security came from my financial position. I had reached Coast FI. I was really just investing aggressively for a year and a half, 2 years to get to this point of Coast FI, which basically meant that my future 65-year-old self's retirement was taken care of. Even if I didn't put another penny into my nest egg would grow to my FI number or my retirement number at 65. So this gave me a huge peace of mind, and it unlocked a level of freedom I didn't have the year before that, or even when I started in 2020. And by the way, I probably wouldn't have had that level of freedom if I would have bought a home. And this is an idea that I had not really internalized when I started pursuing financial independence. Every financial independence milestone really gives you and gives me permission to unlock some more freedom. So whether that's freedom to change your career, spend more time with your family, stop investing so you can save for a different financial priority, whether that's a house, whether that's a car, whether that's taking a risk on your business. It really opens up like a new level of freedom before you even reach your full FI number. Number 5, freedom can be bought. I grew up in an immigrant household, and for my formative years, it was just me, my dad, my brother, and our dog, Charlie. And I was taught one approach to money, and that was to work hard and to save as much as I possibly could. My dad was not a stock market investor, and it wasn't his fault. Nobody sat down and taught him how to do it or why he should do it. And even me, when I was 18 investing in the stock market, I didn't truly understand the magic of investing or the power of compound interest the way that I do now. I was just kind of taking the advice of a mentor at the time, and I thought that investing was the responsible thing to do, so that's what I did. And in 2020, when I learned about financial independence, I started to really have a better theoretical understanding of compound growth and this idea that my money can make money. But even then, it wasn't really until last year, the end of last year, that my portfolio grew by $66,000 without me having to even move a muscle. My money worked just as hard as I did in 2024, my income was $66,000 and my portfolio grew by $66,000. So that's really when I really understood it on a completely like deeper, personal, like real level. And what I've really come to learn on my own is really that the goal of money is not just to work hard for it and to save as much of it as you can. The goal is for your money to eventually out-earn you. Today, I see every single dollar that I earn as an opportunity not only to enjoy my life now by spending it, but also to buy my freedom by investing it. The path to freedom is not working as many hours as you possibly can. It's having your money out-earn you. And I'm curious to know which one of these lessons resonated with you the most. I would love to hear in the comments so I can get to know you a little bit more. I'm on a mission to guide 1 million women just like you reach their next financial independence milestone. So if you're FI curious, or if you just want to watch me reach my next financial independence milestone, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and like this video so my next video gets shown to you. In this channel, I'm going to be sharing my own financial independence updates. I'm going to be sharing stories of women who are also pursuing financial independence on different incomes, and I'm also going to be sharing some financial independence education content. So if you want to learn more, make sure that you check out the description for resources that I've put together for you, and follow me on Instagram if you'd like to get to know me a little bit more, and I'll see you next week.